Chapter 20, Example 5. Before lending someone money, banks must decide whether they believe the applicant will repay the loan. One strategy used is a point system. Loan officers assess information about the applicant, totaling points they award for a person's income level, credit history, current debt burden, and so on. The higher the point total, the more convinced the bank is that it's safe to make the loan. Any applicant with a lower point total than a certain cutoff score will be denied a loan. We can think of this decision as a hypothesis test, since the bank makes its profit from the interest collected on repaid loans. Their null hypothesis is that the applicant will repay the loan, and therefore should get the money. Only if the person's score falls below the minimum cutoff will the bank reject the null and deny the loan. This system is reasonably reliable, but of course, sometimes there are mistakes. When a person defaults on a loan, which type of error did the bank make? So here we fail to reject the null hypothesis. We're on the second row. And the null was actually false. They couldn't repay it. So that is the second column. That gives us a type 2 error. We failed to reject the null, but the null was in fact false. So if a person receives a loan and then defaults, that is equivalent to failing to reject the null when it is actually false. A type 2 error. Which kind of error is it when the bank misses an opportunity to make a loan to someone who would have repaid it? So let's look at our little chart again. We are going to reject the null. We're saying that they can't repay it, but actually it is true they could have, which results in a type 1 error. That's the first row, first column of our table. Missed opportunities to make a loan would be rejecting the null hypothesis when it was true. A type 1 error. Suppose the bank decides to lower the cutoff score from 250 points to 200 points. Is that analogous to choosing a higher or lower value of alpha for a hypothesis test? Explain. Well, lowering the cutoff score would result in the null hypothesis being rejected less often. This is analogous to decreasing the alpha level. It would take less evidence to grant a loan. What impact does this change in the cutoff value have on the chance of each type of error? Since the null will be rejected less often, This change in the cutoff value would increase the risk of loaning money to someone that cannot repay it. This is type 2 error. The chance of type 1 error would decrease as the null will be rejected less often. The bank is less likely to decline a loan to someone that can repay it.